Hello and welcome. This is round 2 of PCOA's Healthy Tidbits for Staying in Place. And these sessions are brought to you by the certified instructors who are normally out there teaching PCOA's Enhanced Fitness class. My name is Marty. Today I'm going to do about 30 minutes of healthy movements for a happy back. And I know everyone wants to have a happy back for sure. So I'm going to actually have you be doing this on the floor, but you are welcome to do in a chair if that's more comfortable for you. But just make sure it's a safe chair. Never move into pain, especially if you are experiencing some low back, or that's usually where the pain is, in the middle to low back, is if people have pain. So definitely don't move into pain. I'm going to really focus a lot on breathing, and do drink water. So have water for yourself and try to have fun with this. So as I said, I'm going to start on the back side. So even if you don't like being on your back, I'd like you to know about this. This is called a constructive rest pose, okay? You could do this on your bed if you like, or like a yoga mat or something under you that's comfortable. So I'd like to talk while you're here for a minute about this position. This is a position that actually was talked about in the 1920s. It is called constructive rest. So 2 ideas with back and a healthy back. So one is learning how to relax, which involves techniques like visualization, breathing, and it requires time and practice to be able to release and relax muscles that maybe have been overworked or injured or held tight for long periods of your life. That's a hard thing to do. And also for some of us who are used to doing something, the idea of lying here and not doing anything is awkward for some people. So this is a position or a pose that can be held for 20 minutes. Now, I wasn't going to hold it that long in this class. I was going to have you do some other things, but I just would like to have you understand what this is about. So this is about visualizing a relaxation happening from the spine, the back of your body, forward diagonally to the front of your hips, okay? That's the muscle we're focused on, okay? That is your psoas muscle, just if you'd like to know. PSOAS, constructive rest, psoas muscle. You're picturing what's going on. And I'd like you to think about the weight of your thighs, the heavy femur bones, just sinking down into the hip sockets, okay? This can also be done, and this is why I wanted to have the chair here for a moment. This can also be done with the legs up on something and relaxing in this way, okay? This is a constructive rest also. And as I said, 20 minutes, being able to have this whole mental process. So you're not doing anything except trying to talk yourself down a little bit. Pay attention to parts of your body that you could release, that maybe you're holding tight. Pay attention to parts of your body maybe that hurt. And, you know, breathe into those areas. So the other part about this is learning how to breathe. I know everyone thinks they know how to breathe. Yeah, a couple of years ago, I found out what a bad breather I am. So I'm kind of on a mission now with exercising to teach people about breathing. So in a nutshell, be aware of breathing through your nose. You're a nostril breather. You have relaxed facial structure. Your throat is open, and you keep your lips gently touching so that you can continue to breathe through your nose. You are just, rather than forcing your breath, you are just letting your breath come in, pause, move out, pause, and you're just getting a sense of that cadence, that rhythm of your own body, okay? If you bring your focus mentally to your breathing, that is the best way to just start on learning how to be a better breather. So you're lying in your constructive rest, and you're becoming a better breather. And another thing you could pay attention to with your breath is what your diaphragm is doing. So your diaphragm is your muscle of breathing. It's gonna go down, and the inhale comes in, and it's gonna move up, and the exhale moves out. That's what's going on. So you might picture that for yourself. And the big thing here with talking about your back being happier in relation to your breath is, you know, lots of times we say, well, if you have lower back pain, make sure and work your front abdominal muscles. The reality is your diaphragm is what is the core stabilizer. That's the major muscle of core stabilization. So if you're thinking for low back relief that you want to have a stronger core, which is the phrase that's used a lot, then you really want to have it start with the diaphragm, which means starting with your breath, okay? So the diaphragm is moving, and the psoas is relaxing. That's, remember, in our constructive rest, psoas is relaxing. And you're hanging out here for maybe 20 minutes. And then as you come out of that, the other part, so remember I said two principles in thinking about a healthy back. The one is learning how to relax and release tension, breath and psoas. And the other is learning how to stretch. So if we think about stretching, let's go back to the position that we were in on our backs. And think about stretching the front of the hips, okay? If you use a technique called PNF stretching, that can really just add a little flavor to a stretch. So you are gonna push, you're gonna resist with the hand, push with the leg, breathe the whole time you're doing this, and hold for about 8 to 10 seconds, and then give yourself a nice extended stretch. Okay, that is enhancing the stretch a little bit. Let's try the other side. A pushing with the hand, resisting, or pushing with the leg, resisting with the hand, 8 to 10 seconds. And going then for another nice long stretch on this side. Again, always visualizing. Remember, you've got the attachment here at the upper back, or middle back rather, coming down on the diagonal. Okay, PNF stretching. That's an athletic technique. Let yourself feel really good. And let's go one more time on the other side. Connecting that tension, trying to not have don't be a breath holder. And then there we go. Nice, long and extended. Okay, so thinking about anything that's going to stretch in through the hips. Anything that's comfortable. A lot of yoga poses are really nice. A wind relieving pose is when we bring one leg in, stretch the other leg out. A little bit similar to what we were doing. However, we're trying to pull this knee in. So there's a little tilt going on in the low back. And again, if it's hurting anything in the low back, that's very counterproductive. So you could look like this with that leg bent or straight. And then we're gonna switch, always thinking about nice, safe movement anytime you're doing this. So the chin is a little bit tucked. I'm trying to lengthen out the crown of my head. Let my spine get long out the crown of my head. Okay, back we go, nice little ball. So any hip openers, like happy baby, that's where you try and look like a little baby here, grabbing your feet. So any kind of opening like this, throughout your position here on your backside, anything that feels good. Always bring the low back in touch with the mat. And remember, if there's a time that you can feel your back start to move away from the mat, you are just extending the spine again and making adjustments to keep yourself nice and connected. So we don't want to be arching through the low back. We want to be nice and flattened out. Anything like arches or bridges are good. That's working the back side of the body. So an arch is a hip lift here, and this is sometimes called a bridge in different classes. You are thinking about something between your knees as if you were holding like a block between your knees and just letting yourself move comfortably through this. Let's do one more. And then I'd like you to think a little bit about having a one-sided, okay, so back to the one knee in, other leg straight, and just let this knee travel across your body. So a spinal twist here, but keeping it very comfortable, okay? So twisting is really, it's rather controversial. So for some people, it's not gonna feel good. I just want you to go as far with a spinal twist here as feels good for you, okay? And if anything, I'd like you to do less rather than more. And let's switch legs. Keep your breathing going nice and easy, feet nice and relaxed, and just draw this other knee over. So I feel differently from one side to the other, and that's usually what you can count on. And again, always feeling relaxed and comfortable. Okay, knees nice and close again. Anything that feels good for you with leg extensions? But if you're going to do a lowering of your leg at all, and you have history of back pain, I think that would be a bad choice for you. I would suggest you could lower your leg one at a time. And you're always breathing, of course. And you could even add, you know, the opposite arm for dead bugs here. But what I will tell you is the most important part of a dead bug move is that you keep the knees above your waist, okay? My knees need to be as high as they can go toward my shoulders. And I'm trying to keep that lifted position in this dead bug. And let's finish up. And then let's do a nice internal stretch for the hips. The feet are going to go down on the floor. The knees are wide. And this time, the knee is going to just travel toward the opposite foot. So this hip getting a nice internal stretch. And then we do the other side. As you can see, the whole body kind of rolls into this. Okay. Then gently roll to your side, push yourself up, move into belly down. So now we've got the idea of the upper back being the focus right now. And as always, pain is not helpful. Usually most of us have a posture problem, our shoulders are forward. And so ideally, like if our shoulders are forward, our head's gonna be forward, and that's gonna really reflect in the low back. It transfers the weight, the working weight into the low back. So as much as we can, we wanna have good posture. Well, sometimes if I just say, okay, pull your shoulders back, you know, there's still that thing with the head forward. So we actually want to lengthen out the crown of the head, and we want to have our upper back strong so that when we think about pulling our shoulders back, we have good, comfortable strength to do that. So we're going to do a couple upper back exercises and start out here on, this is a yoga pose called Sphinx on your forearms. The idea again is that you are lengthening out the crown of your head. So the shoulders move away from the ears. The spine is nice and long, and just let yourself have some head movement, nodding a little bit. Yes and no. And yes. And maybe. No, that was a joke. Just look over one shoulder, look at your feet, let your whole body gently turn. Reconnect with your breath. So we're nice and tall. And you could start out just small movements, letting your shoulder blades Squeeze together and push yourself back up. Squeezing and pushing. This is a little lizard move. Squeezing and pushing, getting used to that. And then, you know, you can do a lot here because this is an area of the body that's really fun to work out. You know, you can do classic push-ups. You could keep your knees on the ground. You could do some combat crawling, which is putting yourself back on your forearms and bringing your knees up close to your elbows and rocking yourself forward and back. And again, it's the upper back that's working here, trying to keep leading with the crown of the head, pushing the arms down, using the upper back. And then when you do something where you can picture that it's a movement across, you know, it's across allowing yourself to cross your body. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, getting a little messed up here. But crossing your body. So all of the movements that you can do that use like one arm and opposite leg, that is a really effective way to have your whole body just kind of kick in. So lifting one leg, opposite arm. So remember, you could always do that with a bent knee. And that's going to take a little bit of the effort out of it, or a straight leg. You could think about drawing your shoulders away from your ears again, connecting to the ground, pushing your belly down into the ground, and then gently letting yourself have a little bit of a lift here too. And again, you know, if you're moving into pain, then you're defeating your whole purpose. And if the arms come back like this and touch toward your legs, and you lift with your upper back first, then, you know, the back muscles, you have some very strong, powerful muscles in your back, and they're able to do this for you as long as you breathe and try not to overextend anything. So the head needs to stay nicely lifted. Crown of the head is what you're focused on having, you know, forward lift. Okay, so if you've been following along, hopefully this, you know, felt good for you. And really the idea is to have you get a little bit more knowledge about keeping your back safe. And so I'm going to review. We've got the low back muscle structure, and we're trying to learn how to relax a lot of that structure with our breath. And remember, our diaphragm is our core stabilizer. So as we learn to breathe and really let that diaphragm move a lot, we're contributing to the stability of our core. As we think about our good posture, we're lifting out the crown of the head, and we're letting the body respond. So when I lift out the crown of my head, I'm trying to picture that my ribs are coming straight up also. And that's enabling me to be long, keep the movement in my torso, and get those shoulders away from my ears. And so I think that there's a couple things that I just would like to finish with.
And they're all mental. Because that's so often an area that we could all really get better about. So I'm going to encourage you to, number one, not compare yourself to others, and certainly not to compare yourself to what you used to be able to do. I have people say that a lot. I used to be able to do, 25 push-ups, or I used to be able to do this. And it's really important to be as honoring as you can of right where you are, right at this moment, and what your body is teaching you. So if your back is hurting, there's a really good chance you've been contributing toward that for a long time. Maybe in your posture, maybe in your breathing, maybe in your tightness from being seated so much. And you just had a straw that kind of broke the camel's back, as they say. You had one thing happen and your body was like, we're done. It's, we're not going to accommodate this anymore. That's usually what a back injury will come from. Although I will say that there are some traumatic injuries that happen sometimes, where there's a sudden trauma to the body, and that's a little bit different, because maybe you haven't contributed to that for a long time. But most of the time, we have contributed toward our backs, trying to accommodate us for years and years and years, with something that we're doing that's not in our best interest. So kind of undoing things, paying attention as much as you can to your own posture, your own breath, your own body's messages to you. And as always, having fun with this. Being able to get out of pain is a lot of fun, that's for sure. So thank you for your time. I'm going to ask you to check out all of our sessions on PCOA's YouTube channel. Tell your friends. Stay safe always. Keep honoring all those suggestions that we've heard about keeping our masks and social distance, and really knowing and honoring your own body's condition. So thank you.